I'll just press the button. Good morning, Anne-Marie. How are you?
I'm very well. And you, Lucy?
Yeah, good. Welcome everybody. I'm Lucy and this is Anne-Marie.
Hi, everybody.
And this morning we're going to talk to you a little bit about the footsteps and the footprints that you leave behind and how intentional they are. And looking at bringing yourself with you everywhere you go. Wasn't that what we were talking about, Anne-Marie, earlier?
Very good. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I think that's the one thing that you kind of forget about that if you're not nice to yourself, well, you're nice, yourself is always with you. Like it's like you always talk about that, you're your own best friend is, I think, the words that you always use,
Yeah,
Lucy, that, and it's something that I never thought about really until I met Lucy when she said, "Oh, but you're your own best friend." Because sometimes people are, "Oh, I've no friends," blah, blah, blah. It's a thing you do hear a lot.
yeah,
Especially I suppose in the circles that we both work in that,
yeah.
you know.
Exactly. And I suppose one of the things that we are talking about this morning was um, job hopping and people job hopping, looking to find something different, looking to find something better, looking to find something new, looking to find something different, looking for a place to fit. And sometimes they don't find that. So the job hopping continues and the despairing of finding somewhere then happens
Yeah.
that they're going
And
to
I
go.
was saying, well, that's not me at all. I'm like stay in the one place. I'm like generally happy and
Yeah.
can get along with most people. And I suppose I don't like the disruption, even though I love change in my personal life. I like, traveling, going different places.
Mhm.
If I am in a, I suppose, stable job, you know, I
Yeah.
like being
And I think that's
comfortable.
kind of changing for a lot of young people now, and that they're looking for somewhere that they feel they belong. But if you look at going back to yourself, because the one thing that you can change, and as we said, the one person that you have with you everywhere you go is yourself. So if you look at doing a double down on yourself to get to know yourself better, get to know how you operate, get to know what works for you, get to know what values you like to be around, what kind of people you like to be around, what kind of atmosphere you want to create. So it's what you bring to the table. So you become part of a system when you join a system.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
so
how come
true.
you can create little changes within that system to create the space that you're looking for, rather than looking for it to be somewhere that you can join, that you
Yeah,
can
I
be
know.
part of something.
One of my jobs, what was my first job, but when I went back to work after I had my first child, I wasn't looking for a job. I went back because for financial reasons. And anyway, but I had to create a job, right? Like there was a job
Yeah,
for one person that had to do absolutely everything. And then I had to build like a team and an office. So I think when you're starting from somewhere like that, it's a lot easier because you're interviewing the people and you know who you get along with. So the team I had
yeah,
around me was like 4 or 5 girls that
yeah.
all very, very different, but like we gelled well. And the bosses, as I call them, were hardly ever around. So,
Yeah.
you
But I
know,
think it's the what are the things that you can do when you join a team. It's that idea of interdependence. That
sure.
we start off as a dependent being, as a very tiny human, and
Yeah.
then we strive for independence. We Lots of us know that stroppy teenage phase where they're actually moving away from parents, moving away from adults to find their own identity. But
Yeah.
the next real form of maturity that comes is interdependence, when we realize that we actually know each other and we need each other, and we're needed for things as well as needing other people for things. So it's like we all help each other out. And that's the way the world works best, really, when we're helping
Yeah,
each other
absolutely.
out.
Yeah, because you're
So
right,
it's how
teenagers
we strive
think
for
you know
that.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what can you add to a team, I suppose, rather than just sucking the life out of it? Because some people, like, you've worked with them, I've worked with people who just moan constantly all day long,
Yeah.
rather than like looking at themselves or even like, well, we all have different skills and like
Yeah.
what skills can I bring to the team? Like it might even just be like, well, oh, I know loads of great jokes, so maybe when the atmosphere is really tense, maybe I can lighten it up a bit.
That could be a tricky one, though, in fairness.
Yeah, sometimes people say the wrong things, don't they?
Yeah,
Or
exactly.
especially dad jokes. My husband's great at them. And the kids are
Yeah,
like, cringe, don't say that. But you
Yeah,
know what I mean. But sometimes you know, different personalities bring different things, and obviously
good. Yeah,
everybody is completely different, and we all have different. I always say to people, you've no idea what's going on in people's lives either. So, like, if
clever.
somebody is very stressed or tense, it might have absolutely nothing to do with the people they're working with. But
It
people
usually
always think,
doesn't. Yeah,
oh, it's
yeah,
something to do with them. And it's like, it's usually not. Usually it's
yeah,
something to do with your personal life. Somebody could be sick or, you
yeah.
know, financial worries or whatever.
And the one thing that holds you in that is not to make an assumption that you know what's happening with another person, but actually be curious about, are you okay?
Yeah,
You want a cup of coffee? Is there anything I can do? And
that's my solution. Do you want a cup of
yeah,
coffee?
exactly. And me too. I mean, it was one of the things I always used when I was working in residential care and kids were getting very heightened. I would always say, let's put the kettle on. And
Yeah,
regularly they followed behind me. We put the kettle on and we were able to have a conversation. That didn't always work, but it is
yeah,
how what you can bring that can change things, that can just
yeah,
change a tiny little bit. I always think there's a point, if you think about something is happening and it comes to a point where it can go this way and go really, really wrong, or it can go this way
mm,
and you can kind of
yeah.
get it right. But there's a
Yeah.
point,
There
and there's
is,
a
I
point
know,
you
yeah,
can
because
step
I see
in.
that all the time. Yeah, when I'm working with,
Yeah.
particularly with younger people, teenagers, that if you're having, like you said, a cup of tea with them, it's a conversation. Whereas if
Mm,
you're working with them, they think you're trying to get information or you're trying to uncover something, but they volunteer a lot if it's
yeah.
just a chat.
Yeah.
And I mean, people are the same in work. You know, when they're
Yeah.
relaxed, then they'll, you know, they're more likely to tell you what it actually is that's bothering them.
Yeah. And that takes you back to the question of, if you're sitting in, or if you're on your way down to somebody in a room, be that in your home, be that in your office, be that in a social club, wherever it is, and if somebody hears your footsteps coming, do they go, oh God, it's Anne-Marie? Or do they go, oh Ray, it's Anne-Marie? Or,
Yeah,
oh, I can't wait to see her, I know she's coming. What is it that's triggered in other people? What is it you bring? And
sure.
sometimes, if we've all heard those really quick footsteps of somebody in a panic. You know,
Yeah.
if you're that
And yeah, then you
person with
know.
your footsteps in a panic, and you're caught up in something, is it worthwhile when you find your footsteps being very quick and fast to just stop for a minute and say, hang on a minute, when I get to where I'm going, what do I want to have with me?
Yeah. I
Do you
suppose,
know?
yeah, being more intentional, isn't it, about
Yeah,
how you're thinking and how your thinking comes out in your physical being. Because I never
yeah,
thought about the footsteps until you said it at your book launch. But like it's true. Like even in a house, you can tell who's coming down the stairs or who's coming
yeah.
up the
And
stairs. And
sometimes you can tell the mood, can't you? You can tell the mood
yeah,
they're in.
you can't
You
because
can
if
tell if
someone's
there's something
walking like
wrong.
are dragging themselves. You like if
Yeah.
they're dragging themselves. Like we had a student living with us last year, and he always dragged his feet. It drove my husband insane. He'd
Mm,
drag his feet through the kitchen, drag it, and like it didn't actually bother me as much. I used to just ignore him.
yeah.
But I'm. It. I suppose it depends on what circle you're in as well. I'm used to
And
teenagers, and
yeah,
I
sometimes
just
that can
don't.
speak to a mindset though, can't it?
Yeah,
That
it
you
can.
wonder like what's going on. Maybe that's just his natural way of just kind of moving through the world.
I think
It can speak
he
to a
was very
mindset too.
tall, and I think sometimes when people are very tall as well, they try to make themselves smaller, and so
Mm,
like they hunch over, and he was
yeah.
like, but yeah,
But
and
you know
like
the
he's
way
away from home. There's a whole load of things that you don't know what's going on in someone's head.
exactly. But you can make assumptions.
Yeah, exactly.
And like,
Whereas
so you
I'm
can
just like,
assume that he might be tall, so he might just prefer to kind of make himself smaller and drag his feet along. You can assume he might be homesick, but actually, the way to find out is to ask him.
ask. Yeah,
And that's the one thing that we completely forget about. Sometimes we go mining for a solution, and picking
that's a
up
very
all
good
these
word. Yeah.
ideas and, trying to figure out what's going on with somebody. Well, actually, you can just say, are you okay? Is there something going on?
Sure.
You can ask.
I
That's
know.
the thing.
I think that is an Irish thing as well, though, isn't it? Like we try to fix things, and we're like, oh,
And
I
it's
think
a
they need
human
this,
thing.
and I think they need that. Like I know I've done that in the past with my kids. Like if I'm just in a bad mood, and I'd be like, oh, it's probably this, it's probably that. Oh, I'll make them tea. Oh, do you need to go to the physio? Do you need to go to this? Do
Yeah.
you need? I
And then
just need to
sometimes
be
it can
left
be,
alone for a
yeah,
while.
exactly. That's what I was going to say. Sometimes it can be you annoying them then when you're trying to
Yeah.
fix things and you're blistering around them.
Because sometimes I think as well, sometimes people don't always know what's bothering them because
Yeah.
sometimes it's an accumulation of things, isn't it? It's not
Mm,
just one
yeah.
thing. And I suppose that's where
Uh,
being part of a group like the Identity Edge helps because
yeah.
within a group there's people with so many different personalities and also so many people with different wisdoms.
Yeah. Exactly.
And someone will go, oh, well, yeah, I understand that, and here's
Yeah.
what we might be able to do. Why is that on your own? You can be
It's like
contemplating
Buckaroo, isn't
forever.
it? It's like Buckaroo, isn't it? All these
Yeah,
things are like when you think about the little donkey in Buckaroo and people are putting the hat and the rope and the bucket and the everything else on. So all this stuff is being piled on his back. And then he gets to the point of
whereas,
overload and Buckaroo.
yeah,
Do you know what I mean? He can't see what's being piled on his back. He just knows the weight is there.
wait, yeah,
So sometimes you can have, somebody else come and go, well, the bucket's very heavy, so let's take that off, or the rope is heavy. So you can actually
yeah,
look at working with other people to help you figure that out. But what you're trying to figure out is yourself,
sure, yeah,
and that's part of what the identity edge is about, isn't it? Knowing yourself better, being your own best friend, being kind to yourself, and looking to try and move forward in a positive way.
absolutely, yeah. Because sometimes we do, and what we knew about ourselves, I suppose, as a young person, and then as an older adult, and I mean, then when you get over 60, they're all different people. I mean, that sounds odd, but your identity does evolve and change. And people, I think, also make assumptions that when you're a specific
Yeah,
age, this is the identity you should
yeah.
occupy.
And
So
that's what we're going to talk about in our next 10 minutes, isn't it,
it
Anne?
is. Yeah. So I hope Lucy's just getting me to shut up now because I waffle on.
but
That was a good
again,
ending, Lucy.
yeah, but it is. It's like that's our next 10 minutes is going to be looking at the different roles that we play and how we shift from one to the other.
Yeah.
So
So,
anyway, I hope that's been an interesting one for people and
and
reach out
have a
and let
great
us
day,
know.
everybody.
Yeah,
And if you
thank
want to
you.
find us, go to theidentityedge.ie.
Yeah, that's
Have a
us.
great day.
Bye.
Bye bye.